Good morning. I'm honoured to speak to you today at the Royal Australian College of Surgeons 2021 Annual Scientific Congress with the most apt theme, celebrating the art of surgery in a time of disruption. And today I'm going to discuss how the IT landscape is changing medical innovation. My name is Rita Arrigo and I'm a digital strategist. And you'll find throughout this talk that I'm a mixed reality evangelist, as I truly believe that mixed reality will change the way we see the world. So I'm going to share with you today a bit about the agenda. We're going to be talking about digital health and the kind of impact it's having. I'm going to walk you through an introduction to mixed reality. I'm going to take you on a journey on some of the events I've been experiencing as part of my journey into holographic surgery. Talk a little bit about MR and VR initiatives in health that are relevant and next steps. So off we go. So there's many ways that technology is delivering digital health today, with personalised care, providing new experiences to give people control over their health data, making it faster and easier to share health data securely, which has been a real challenge for so long, and allow collaboration to improve patient outcomes, accelerate diagnosis, reduce time to treatment, and imagine what's possible by building new capabilities with emerging technologies like mixed reality. So today's collaboration scenarios in healthcare are on a trajectory. They're changing. So it's, with a lot of people have started using messaging like the WhatsApp, different ways of Teams, different messaging, referral meetings, document collaboration, handover meetings, huddle meetings. And of course, this year has been a lot about bringing together those multidisciplinary meetings, either on Zoom or Teams, so you can really create that so much more efficiently in a virtual world. At the same time, we've also had next generation technologies really unlocking the ways we provide healthcare. And that includes things like IoT to help with continuous patient monitoring. We had that dream of that smart bathroom or smart bedroom that will send data continually and help monitor our health. Through to artificial intelligence, which will allow us to have that ambient clinical intelligence, to use things like computer vision to solve some of the problems in hospitals with falls, etc., and other types of AI, which I'll talk a little bit about in a minute, but as well mixed reality, which is giving us these new forms of collaboration and data visualization that we've never had before. So one of the ways that AI is being used is with quantum-inspired algorithms to increase the speed of MRI scans and improve accuracy of diagnosis by almost 30%. So that's super exciting. And let's talk about the third wave of computing and this new era of mixed reality computing. So, it started with the personal computer where I could sit at my desk and not have to be in front of a mainframe. And that really, brought so much innovation, and today it still is. And then we moved into the smartphone where everything was on the go. There was an app for everything, and you could really just to have the power of everything in your hands. And now in this new third wave of computing, we have mixed reality that brings us the computing power of the edge and blends the physical and the digital worlds together with IoT and artificial intelligence. So it's really interesting that, mixed reality, it can be delivered over a continuum to kind of blend these physical and digital worlds together, in which where digital objects interact with real world physical objects. And you can really start to use them across a range of different types of devices, ranging from the mobile phone or an iPad through the mixed reality headset that you wear on your head, and also on headsets that you can plug into your computer to really bridge that gap. So the Hololens is actually a holographic computer that you wear on your head, and it allows you to start to see holographic images, which are light, that you can touch and you can communicate with your voice. It gives you that concept of the heads up, hands free, where you're no longer constrained by a computer and you're able to see what's in front of you and actually augment that with what's happening in the real world. It also has this ability to have hand articulation, where you can begin to touch holograms and move them and have placed them in spaces and walk around them with this fully articulated hand tracking. So one of the events I was involved in February was 24 hours holographic surgery. And let me tell you a little bit about it. An amazing event that really brought us in to 24 hours of this incredible experience. I'd now like to introduce you to Professor Thomas Gregory, who's a wrist and hand surgeon from the Greater Paris University Hospital. And he's going to show us using an application using Head Op, which is a technology that allows him to have safety during the surgical procedure, as well as optimize the quality of the care. So over to Thomas.
Today, Hololens 2 is transforming our daily practice in surgery. It meets two objectives: ensuring maximum safety of the surgical procedure and optimizing the quality of the patient care. For example, I can communicate with other colleagues such as radiologists, infectious disease specialists to get their opinion during the surgery. And it is well known that this multidisciplinarity considerably improves patient management. The great strength of this application for HoloLens 2 is also and above all to provide surgical guidance. From the patient's CT scan, a 3D model of the skeleton is reconstructed and integrated into an application. HoloLens 2 and this application automatically calibrate the skeleton hologram on the real patient. The areas hidden by the skin then become visible. And it is possible, for instance, to define the perfect axis of the pin to be introduced into the patient's skeleton. It's like having augmented eyes, allowing the gesture to be even more precise. The scrub nurse also benefits from this application, which details each step of the surgery and the associated instruments. Easy access to this procedure reassures the scrub nurse and makes he or she much more efficient. The goal is also to collect all the data from the surgery, but also from the surgeon during all these surgeries, for processing all this data in an artificial intelligence center located at Sorbonne Université Paris Nord. The ultimate goal is to model the perfect surgical gesture. HoloLens 2 offers a fantastic field of possibilities that currently transform our practice every single day.
So Thomas was amazing. He showed us 3D guidance with surgery. He showed us the heads up surgical guidance where you could actually see what was going on. He also showed us how he communicated with specialists during the surgery. as well as, you know, the kind of documentation, the kind of the detailing of each procedure for the surgical team as well in mixed reality, which is super important considering the amount of time it takes to train nursing staff for these processes. So now I want to move to think a little bit about an organisation that is part of Stryker, known as the Right Medical Group. And we're going to meet Dr. John Warner. So let's meet him and see what's going on there.
I have to say that what happened over the last 10 years with the 3D technology is just amazing. It's much more important than everything I've seen during my career.
When we first started on this journey to create this software, we likened it to the difference between a flip phone and a smartphone. Right in, at least in the area of software technology, is the tip of the spear. The shoulder problems that we treat are three-dimensional problems, and yet we have a virtual plan that's represented on a computer screen in 2D. And our brain is trying to see this in 3D. When we go to mixed reality, we have 3D next to a 3D problem. And that means that you see the three-dimensional image adjacent to where you have to operate.
We will have glasses, and that will help us to reproduce the preoperative planning and make sure that the patient benefits of all the new technology.
You can move in space the image that you're going to reference for your operation. If it's distracting, move it out of the way. When you need it, move it where you want it. Rotate it where you want it. We can't see certain things from the field that we're looking at, and yet we can see the holographic view of what we want to achieve. The brain is interesting that way. It builds those data points and gives you spatial recognition you can't otherwise have just from imagining it. Moreover, if I want to reference my plan right now, I got to walk over to the wall and look at the printout that I've made of my virtual plan. Here, it's right in front of me when I need it and when I want it. This is the beginning of what will evolve into a virtual navigation, if you will, through augmented reality that will ultimately reduce our need for all sorts of paraphernalia, instruments, and guides and jigs that cost money and take time.
I am currently using a guide every day in my practice in order to reproduce the exact positioning of the implants. And it works, but it's expensive. I believe that in the future, with a mixed reality, we will solve that problem.
Anytime technology comes along, there are the innovators, the early adopters, then there are the laggards, and there are the resistors. There are different reasons why people take this point of view. In fact, hospitals do it. Well, it's good enough. I've always done it this way. It's fine. Here's the key. Those who measure and apply critical introspection as to what outcomes they get realize over time that they can do better. I would ask you, does your patient deserve that? Does your patient deserve your learning curve to become better at what you do and give them a more durable outcome? For me, the answer is yes. The technology that we now have available is just unparalleled, and this will be the next half decade to decade. We're going to see a complete transformation of shoulder arthroplasty.
This new technology, which is here now, is opening a new field. It's changing completely the future of shoulder arthroplasty.
Well, Dr. John was certainly impressive. One of the areas that I've been following really closely is this whole idea of holographic teaching and how the immersive experience can really accelerate understanding when you have that 3D world. And this year, it was so exciting to see that Case Western University actually shipped 185 Hololens to each medical student so that they could learn anatomy from home. Amazing stuff. In Australia, we have Liminal VR, who are amazing, who are using virtual reality to create immersive experiences in an environment that manipulates the cognitive load to reduce the subject's feeling of pain, which is super exciting to kind of see these kind of technologies evolve. They're also working with renowned Dr. John Ellingham and a renowned anaesthetics to create a training simulation to teach nurses how to set up the fascia a locker block operation. In Victoria, we've got RMIT, who's been doing amazing things since 2018, launching Australia's first mixed reality course, training engineers and developers to develop in the mixed reality platform, to use the mixed reality toolkit, as well as looking at industrial solutions like the work they're doing in the architecture school, where they're actually using mixed reality to create grids to construct objects that are often very difficult to construct without those digital grids. In New South Wales, we also have the University of New South Wales that has been a recipient of an AI for Accessibility grant, where they've used the challenge of being able to diagnose epilepsy with mixed reality. So where to next? How do we think about this, and how do we envision our own solution? Because everyone's going to have a different approach, and particularly in Australia. So the way we think about it, we think about the people, the settings, the tasks, and we use a lot of design thinking to kind of think about, what would be your vision in implementing this kind of solution. So it would start by looking at your vision, doing some research, understanding the challenges and opportunities that you currently have in what you do. Look at the scenarios and start to actually use a HoloLens and experience what it's like, so that you can start to develop the ideas for your pilot, where you can understand the benefits in your pilot plan and perhaps put some storyboards together of what that might look like, so that we can start to see how potentially that could be used in your surgical scenarios. Now I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to present on something that I'm very passionate about. And I look forward to staying in touch. There's a whole lot of ways: Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. And I hope we get to work together again sometime. Thank you.